Joining us now, Travis Miller from Boiler Upload. Purdue having the season they want as of right now, still at top of the AP top 25, I believe, right?
Second. They fell behind UConn after the Nebraska loss.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if they changed and come out. So UConn is the team I thought should be number one for a while, just because of how they've been playing. They looked like to me the team that is the most balanced, and that if I had to pick today, UConn is the team I would pick to win the national championship. But the NCAA tournament, it is what it is, and it's a monster. It can chew any and everybody up at any given moment. I don't care who you are.
I wouldn't know anything about that at all.
Yeah, no, exactly.
It never happens to Purdue.
Right. It's just, and it's nuts. It's it can, and today, and it keeps getting worse or better, depending on your perspective, which actually it's better, but it keeps getting more and more fluid. It is that equality is just reaching further and further out to where there used to be maybe 6 teams that you thought or kind of knew was going to win the title, that there was that separation. And nowadays there may be some separation, but that separation there's not quicksand in between. It's still, those teams behind them are like rattlesnakes. They can strike at a moment and give you harm, no matter who you are, which to me, that's what makes the tournament great. And we'll see how that goes. But Purdue sitting at number 2 in the AP poll right now, and ironically, still sitting number 2 in the Big Ten. Wisconsin leading the Big Ten still, very surprisingly. Not that we didn't think that they were going to be a good team. We knew that, but man, they're holding on. This is kind of late in the season for them to be still holding on to that number 1 spot, although obviously there are plenty of games left for that to change.
Yeah, and this is going to be a big week for both Purdue and Wisconsin. Purdue hosts Northwestern on Wednesday night. Obviously, they've already lost to Northwestern in overtime in Evanston. Not, in a vacuum, not a bad loss, but Purdue does have 2 losses to Wisconsin's 1, and that is the advantage right now, as Wisconsin has gotten it done on the basketball floor. Wisconsin has to go to Nebraska, the other team that has beaten Purdue, and then on Sunday, assuming they both win, you have a huge game in Madison where Purdue goes to Wisconsin, and that is a game where if things go well this week for Purdue and they beat Northwestern, Nebraska holds home court against Wisconsin. If Purdue gets that game on Sunday in Madison, I think at that point they are the overwhelming favorite, just because there would be 8 games left. They would have a 1-game lead. They would still have to play Wisconsin in Mackey Arena. I think Purdue overall is in good shape right now, but Wisconsin's schedule is a bit easier than Purdue's to finish it. They do have to play Purdue twice. They only have to play Illinois once. They are done with Northwestern, and those are the 4 teams that have kind of separated themselves out now as the top 4 most likely going to win the conference. You've got Wisconsin has 1 loss, Purdue has 2, and both Illinois and Northwestern have 3. But Purdue still has to play those 3 4 times. They've got 2 against Wisconsin. They have to go to Illinois, and they've got Northwestern at home. So it's not going to be easy for Purdue, but this will be a big week to decide if they are going to, really run away with it, or if it's going to be a dogfight to the end.
It's really ironic. If you looked at the Big Ten standings right now, the last 10 games are very almost identical to the standings. Wisconsin and Purdue in their last 10 are both 9-1. Illinois and Northwestern, who follow, are both 7-3. Then you have Nebraska and Maryland behind them, in addition to Minnesota. All 3 of those teams are 6-4. Indiana behind that group is 5-5. So that group of teams, their last 10 games are a microcosm of their entire season. To me, and so it is going to be a battle between Wisconsin and Purdue all the way through, and it's going to be amazing to see who comes out of that battle. Northwestern is a team that can just they're like a snake. They're because of their guard play. They can bite anybody at any time. Illinois, more of a grinder, have gone through some adversity, but they're kind of an amazing team to me because of the adversity they've been going through and still maintaining where they are. And in addition, they got by Indiana over the weekend in a very, very tough game. Indiana without Khalil Ware. That would have been interesting to see the difference had they had him. But it's been an interesting season nonetheless.
Yeah, I agree. And it's just going to be interesting to see how things do go out down the stretch. You still got Michigan State, I think, is a dangerous team. They were, one of the co-favorites with Purdue in the preseason. Obviously, their year has not worked out as you would think, but they're the kind of team that can spoil it for somebody. And then you still have Nebraska has an excellent home court advantage. Northwestern, excellent at home unless they're playing Chicago State for whatever reason. I still can't figure out that loss, but it does not count against them in the conference standings. And then, you still got Maryland. Maryland seems to be coming on strong. I think they're playing some pretty good basketball of late to get to 5-5. And again, they're going to be a team to watch out for that could beat, they already won at Illinois. I'm not sure when they play Wisconsin or if they play them again, but that's another game Wisconsin's got to watch out for.
Yeah, you know what? I'm glad you brought that up because they are a team of growth. Last year, I've said it so many times, they couldn't buy a win on the road. They couldn't lose at home, but it was like going to play, Nebraska in the old days. Automatic win. Not now. They won at Illinois, a very, very tough place to win. I think they won at Iowa. Again, just winning on the road in the Big Ten itself, that's hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
And a team that has not had success at doing that, they are doing that, and they are moving up the standings. They're one of those teams that they're 6-4 in their last 10 games, but man, they look like a team that is trending upward. And if you're a fan of that team, there is nothing more you'd like to see this time of the season as your team is trending upward as you head towards tournament time.
Right. And, I think they're one of those teams in the conference that can play themselves into the NCAA tournament. Right now, you've got Purdue, Illinois, Wisconsin, I think are locks. Northwestern and Nebraska are in pretty good shape. They could use some better computer numbers. Michigan State is the computers love them because of who they've played, but if they were to get in, if you name the tournament right now and you put Michigan State in it, that is name recognition alone, honestly.
Yes, I agree. They have not played the kind of basketball that I think is deserving.
Yeah, but Maryland is a team that can play their way in there. And then I honestly look at Minnesota. Look at what they're doing at home. They have already won more games in both the Big Ten and overall than they did last year. They are an improved team. Are they going to win the Big Ten? No. Are they going to make the NCAA tournament? Probably not. But you're going to have to be on your guard if you go up to Minneapolis to play them. And they can cause some problems. They nearly knocked off Wisconsin last week, too.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who continues and who wins the Big Ten tournament. Everyone expects Purdue to do that, and that very well may happen. But I think this year there's always the possibility of an upset this year, more so this year than any season recently, because Wisconsin's good, because Northwestern can step it up, because Maryland's playing better. Nebraska's not a team that I think can manage to get through all that. I don't think Maryland can either. It's the only team I can see winning the Big Ten tournament is Purdue, Wisconsin, possibly Illinois. But we'll see. Hey, that's what it's all about. But we're not quite there yet. We've got a lot more games to be played in this league.
Yeah, and I think those are going to be your three teams that are going to be there at the end: Purdue, Wisconsin, Indiana, or not Indiana, Illinois. And ironically, that is Purdue's last two games of the regular season. They go to Illinois and they host Wisconsin. So it can come down to that final week, depending on what happens before then. So it's going to be real interesting to see. That game at Illinois could mean a lot. It could mean very little, depending on how Wisconsin handles these next few weeks and how Purdue handles these next few weeks. And then historically, Wisconsin has not done well in Mackey Arena. I believe all time in the 50-plus year history of Mackey Arena, Wisconsin has won 6 times. And one of those was an NCAA tournament game in 2021. So they certainly, it's been a house of horrors for them. But they have had at least a little bit of success of late. They did win there 2 years ago. So if they're able to win in Madison, that game at the end of the season is going to be huge in West Lafayette.
There are 4 teams that are undefeated at home yet right now in conference play. 5-0 are Wisconsin, Northwestern, and Nebraska, ironically. Purdue 4-0 and Illinois 4-1, but we're not even halfway yet. We're one game short of being halfway, which is quite amazing. It seems like we're further along in the season than we really are.
Yeah, and you talk about home versus road. One of the things that I think is neat is yesterday Purdue had 8 guys complete what I call the Delaney dozen. That means they have won in their careers in all 14 Big Ten arenas, which is most, I think on my sheet that I'm tracking it, there's like 34 guys that have done it. Only 7, I think, have done it not with Purdue. And part of that is because Purdue has just defended Mackey Arena so well in the 14-team era. Purdue has only lost 11 Big Ten games in the 14-team Big Ten era, 4 of them coming in their one down year of 2019-20. So it's difficult to win on the road, like you said. And with these teams that defend home court so well, they're going to be in there every single year. I mean, Purdue has won 3 Big Ten championships in the 14-team era. They have come a single play short of 2 more. Against Ohio State, they needed 1 rebound to beat them in 2018, and then in 2022, that miracle heave when they lost at Rutgers. If those 2 plays go another way, Purdue's got 2 more Big Ten championships. So
yeah,
being able to defend that home court is so hard, and I think it's an incredible accomplishment that Zach Edey and Mason Gillis and Ethan Morton and Caleb First and a bunch of other guys here have won in every single arena throughout their careers.
Indiana has Iowa at home up next tomorrow night. Like I said, Iowa stuck in and got a win last year. Did not expect that and see that coming. But, man, they just bull rushed Indiana. They got up and down the floor so many times. It was like Indiana kind of lost track of them. And that was a surprising loss for the Hoosiers last year. Iowa not quite as good this season, but they're playing much better of late.
Yeah, Iowa basketball is the anti-Kirk Ferentz. They are all offense, no defense whatsoever. I mean, they want to go out and beat you 99-97, and that is the thing with them is if you find a way to slow down their offense, they don't have the defense to make it a 65-60 game. No, there's going to be points scored. You're going to, like you said, they're going to get up and down the floor. And it really is weird to think of it, but they are the anti-Kirk Ferentz with all offense, no defense for basketball.
That is actually hilarious.